Before you spend that quarter, take a closer look. Some Washington and state quarters could be worth hundreds, even thousands, hiding right in your change. From rare mint errors to low mintage state editions, these small coins hold big surprises. Check your 25-cent pieces. Because one could turn your pocket change into serious cash. Don't blink. Your treasure might be right there. The 1999 U.S. Connecticut State Quarter is one of the most admired and historically rich coins from the 50 State Quarters program. Struck as part of the first series of state-themed quarters issued by the United States Mint, this coin not only celebrates the heritage of the state of Connecticut, but also stands as one of the most sought-after quarters due to its striking design and the fascinating minting errors that have made certain examples worth an incredible fortune. Some rare error versions of this coin have fetched unbelievable prices at auctions, ranging from $52,000 to as high as $134,400, making it one of the most valuable and talked about quarters in modern U.S. coin history. When the Connecticut State Quarter was released in 1999, it represented the fifth coin in the popular 50 State Quarters program. The design on the reverse captures one of Connecticut's most iconic symbols, the Charter Oak, a massive tree that became a legendary emblem of American independence. According to history, Connecticut's colonial charter was hidden inside this tree in 1687 to keep it safe from the British authorities. The artist, T. James Farrell, immortalized that story on the coin with incredible detail. The branches stretch outward in a powerful, intricate web, symbolizing strength, endurance, and the deep roots of freedom. The words, the Charter Oak, along with the date 1788, the year Connecticut joined the Union, are beautifully displayed, making the coin an artistic masterpiece as well as a symbol of American resilience. But while the coin was already significant for its history and design, it soon gained even more fame because of several remarkable minting errors that transformed ordinary coins into rare treasures. Among the most well-known are the off-center strikes, broad strikes, and double die varieties. In an off-center strike, the design is visibly misaligned, leaving a portion of the coin blank while shifting the image dramatically to one side. The more extreme the misalignment, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. A stunning example of a 1999 Connecticut quarter struck 60% off-center sold for $27,500, while another with an even more dramatic 80% off-center strike reached an incredible $52,000 at a heritage auction. Then there are the double die errors, which occur when the coin's die imprints slightly shifted designs on the surface, leading to visible doubling in letters, numbers, or tree branches. These rare examples are some of the most desirable to collectors, especially when the doubling is clear and sharp. One of the most famous double die obverse specimens, where the word Liberty and In God We Trust appeared doubled, sold for $46,000 in MS-67 condition. Another even more dramatic double die reverse coin, showing distinct doubling in the Charter Oak branches, fetched $84,000 at auction, stunning both collectors and numismatists alike. One of the most fascinating and valuable errors, however, involves coins struck on the wrong planchet. In rare cases, some Connecticut quarters were accidentally struck on planchets intended for other denominations, such as dimes or foreign coins. This kind of error is extremely rare, as it typically happens when leftover planchets are mixed into the wrong batch during production. A 1999 Connecticut quarter struck on a copper-nickel dime planchet was discovered and authenticated by PCGS. It weighed less than the standard 5.67 grams and had portions of the design missing near the rim. That coin went on to sell for $98,000. Another example, struck on a foreign planchet, achieved a staggering $134,400, becoming one of the highest-priced Connecticut quarters ever sold. The Connecticut quarter was produced at 3 different U.S. Mint locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The P and D mint marks represent the standard circulation coins, while the S mint mark denotes the proof versions made primarily for collectors. The Philadelphia Mint produced the largest number, but even within those millions of coins, unique varieties emerged. Certain 1999 P quarters with dramatic die cracks, thin raised lines caused by fractures in the die, have been sold for as much as $12,000, while coins with full, sharp details and mirror-like surfaces have reached $5,000 to $8,000 even without major errors. High-grade specimens graded MS-68 or above are also commanding strong prices in the market. These coins are almost perfect, showing no visible scratches or contact marks even under magnification. A 1999 D Connecticut quarter-graded MS-68 by PCGS sold for $7,800, while a flawless MS-69 example achieved a record price of $12,500 at a Stack's Bowers auction. The appeal of these high-grade coins lies in their pristine preservation, representing what collectors call the perfect strike. Collectors love the Connecticut quarter for more than its rarity. It's also one of the most visually stunning designs in the entire state quarter series. The Charter Oak's intricate network of branches provides depth and texture rarely seen on coins. Every twist of the branches and every line of bark carries historical symbolism. The design captures both nature's beauty and the spirit of rebellion that helped define early America. Many collectors believe that this design stands as one of the most artistic and meaningful in modern U.S. coinage, which only adds to its popularity and demand. Stories of ordinary people finding these valuable quarters in circulation have kept public interest alive for years. One story from 2021 involved a man in Virginia who discovered a Connecticut quarter with a striking die clash error, an imprint of the obverse faintly appearing on the reverse. After sending it for grading, he learned that his find was valued at over $40,000. Another collector in California found a broad-struck version, where the coin was struck without a collar, causing it to expand beyond its normal size, and sold it for $63,000. These stories remind everyone that incredible treasures can still be hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered in loose change, coin rolls, or forgotten jars. Even regular 1999 Connecticut quarters have sentimental and collectible value. As one of the first-year releases in the 50-state quarter series, they represent the beginning of a program that reignited interest in coin collecting across America. Millions of people started checking their change, hoping to find rare quarters from each state. The excitement over the Connecticut coin was especially strong, not only because of its beauty but also because early production errors made it famous among collectors. Some experts believe that as the years go by, even standard uncirculated examples of this coin will increase in value due to growing demand and shrinking supply at major coin auctions across the United States. The 1999 Connecticut quarter continues to impress bidders and investors. Heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections have all sold rare examples that set new benchmarks. In one memorable event, a 1999 P-double die quarter-graded MS-68 achieved $72,000, while another, with a sharp off-metal error, broke all expectations at $134,400. These record-breaking sales highlight the extraordinary potential of coins that most people overlook as everyday change. Collectors and experts alike emphasize that the key to identifying a valuable 1999 Connecticut quarter lies in the details. Look for unusual characteristics, doubling in the lettering, misalignment of the design, unusual coloring, or extra thickness in certain areas. Even slight imperfections can mean big value if they're authentic minting errors. Getting such coins authenticated and graded by PCGS or NGC is crucial, as it verifies their rarity and condition, which directly influences their market value. Beyond its market worth, the Connecticut quarter carries a deeper message. The Charter Oak design is not just a tribute to a state. It's a tribute to the spirit of defiance and liberty that shaped the nation. When collectors hold this coin, they're not just holding metal. They're holding a piece of America's story, a reminder of resilience, courage, and independence. So, if you ever come across a 1999 Connecticut state quarter, take a closer look before spending it. Check for doubling, off-centering, or other unusual features, because that small coin in your hand could be worth far more than its face value. It could be one of those rare treasures that collectors dream about, one that once sold for $52,000, or maybe even the legendary specimen that brought in a jaw-dropping $134,400. It's a modern-day reminder that history and value can sometimes hide in the simplest things, and that a coin meant for 25 cents could still carry a story and a fortune, waiting to be discovered. In 1965, a small but monumental shift took place in American coinage, one that would forever change the composition and character of U.S. quarters. For the first time in modern history, silver was completely removed from the Washington quarter. This change, meant to meet the rising cost of silver, marked the end of an era. But amid that transition, the US Mint made a few mistakes, and those mistakes gave birth to some of the most fascinating and valuable error coins in American history. Among them, the 1965 Washington quarter error coins have become legends, with some specimens fetching astonishing prices from $66,400 to $146,000 at major auctions. Most people look at a 1965 quarter and think it's just another piece of change worth 25 cents. But a sharp-eyed collector knows that not all quarters are created equal. During that transitional year, the Mint switched from 90% silver planchets to a new copper-nickel-clad composition. However, a small number of silver planchets, left over from 1964 production, accidentally found their way into the presses and were struck with 1965 dies. These transitional errors are today among the most coveted modern rarities in numismatics. Imagine the excitement of discovering a 1965 dated quarter that shines with the unmistakable luster of silver instead of the duller look of clad copper-nickel. That's the kind of find that turns an ordinary coin into a small fortune. Collectors first began noticing something strange in the late 1960s, 1965 quarters that weighed slightly more than they should. A normal clad quarter weighs 5.67 grams, while a silver quarter weighs about 6.25 grams. That small difference, less than a gram, was enough to alert those with an eye for detail and a precision scale. Soon, reports began circulating that a handful of 1965 quarters had been struck on leftover silver planchets. Today, those coins represent one of the most famous transitional errors ever made by the US Mint. And when one of them hits the auction block, the bidding can be fierce. One example authenticated and graded by PCGS as an MS66 silver planchet error sold for an incredible $66,400. Not bad for something that could have easily been spent on a candy bar. But not all 1965 quarter errors are silver planchet mistakes. Some of the most intriguing examples involve double strikes, off-center errors, and broad strikes that make the coin's design appear distorted yet oddly beautiful. A dramatic off-center 1965 Washington quarter, where nearly half the design was missing and the date was still visible, sold for more than $25,000 at auction. Another specimen with a double strike, showing Roosevelt's head doubled in a ghostly shadow, fetched around $31,500. These kinds of errors are the result of mechanical failures during striking, and when they happen in a transitional year like 1965, the combination of rarity and historical significance makes collectors pay attention. One of the most talked about sales in recent years was that of a 1965 quarter struck on a silver planchet, certified by NGC as Mint State 67. This coin, with stunning original luster and sharp detail, sold for over $146,000 at auction. The reason for such a high price is simple. These coins aren't just minting errors. They are relics of a major moment in American monetary history. They capture a rare, tangible example of the Mint's growing pains during a changeover from precious metal to base metal coinage. Each one is a frozen moment in time, a silver survivor from an age when the Mint was racing to meet demand while phasing out a centuries-old tradition. Even more fascinating are the 1965 quarters found with die clashes and planchet composition anomalies. Some pieces show faint traces of die clashes, the outline of the reverse design impressed faintly onto the obverse, a result of the dies striking each other without a coin between them. These errors add intrigue and bring strong prices among collectors who appreciate mechanical oddities. A particularly vivid die clash specimen with near-perfect surfaces was auctioned for $14,800. Showing that even non-silver 1965 errors can achieve impressive results if they have eye-catching details and excellent preservation. Another rare variant involves 1965 quarters struck on planchets intended for foreign coins. During this era, the US Mint produced coinage for other countries, and sometimes blanks meant for those issues accidentally entered US presses. The result? Quarters that were slightly undersized, underweight, or made of different alloys. One such 1965 quarter struck on a thinner foreign planchet sold for $38,700 at auction, demonstrating that collectors will pay handsomely for unusual and well-documented mint mistakes. When collectors talk about dream finds, the 1965 Washington quarter comes up often. It's the kind of coin that might be sitting unnoticed in an old jar, or tucked into a family collection from decades ago. Many people don't realize that these transitional silver errors can still appear in circulation, though rarely. With millions of 1965 quarters produced, it's entirely possible that a few silver examples remain hidden. The thought of finding one keeps treasure hunters searching through change rolls even today. Auction houses continue to report strong demand for all major 1965 errors. In one recent sale, a 1965 silver transitional quarter graded MS-65 brought $79,200 after a spirited bidding war between two determined collectors. Another high-grade example in near-perfect condition sold for $101,250 through Heritage Auctions, and yet another at Stack's Bowers fetched a staggering $146,000. These coins are modern legends, proof that even after half a century, the 1965 quarter can still surprise the collecting world. The enduring appeal of the 1965 era quarters comes down to a mix of historical significance, rarity, and beauty. They represent a transition, not only in metal composition but in the mint's modernization. They're reminders that even the most precise industrial systems can produce remarkable mistakes. And in the case of the 1965 quarter, those mistakes turned into masterpieces of numismatic history. Collectors value originality above all. A 1965 silver quarter with full mint luster and minimal marks will always outperform a circulated example. That's why professional grading and authentication are essential. So many normal-clad quarters have been artificially toned or altered to look like silver. Only certified weights and expert verification can confirm the real deal. And once verified, the rewards can be extraordinary. Every major auction house has at least one memorable 1965 quarter story. A coin collector in California, who had been hoarding pre-1965 silver coins for years, almost spent a 1965 dated silver quarter thinking it was a leftover from the previous year. When he noticed the date, he sent it for grading, and that coin later sold for over $68,000. Another collector in Florida found a silver quarter in a mixed lot of old coins purchased for $10 at a flea market. After authentication, it was confirmed as a 1965 transitional error and sold for $93,500. These stories fuel the imagination of coin hunters everywhere. The lesson here is clear: never overlook your pocket change. The 1965 Washington quarter proves that even a common coin can be extraordinary under the right circumstances. A few grams of the wrong metal, a shifted strike, or a minting mishap can turn a simple quarter into a life-changing discovery. For those who keep searching through coin rolls, estate collections, or inherited boxes, the next six-figure find could be waiting. The U.S. Mint may strive for perfection, but history shows that even in moments of change, perfection is rarely achieved. The 1965 Washington quarter error coins are living proof, a blend of precision, imperfection, and serendipity. And as long as collectors treasure these stories, the value of such pieces will continue to rise. Whether you see one gleaming faintly with silver or showing the unmistakable quirks of an off-center strike, remember that it's not just a coin. It's a survivor from one of the most significant turning points in American coinage, worth anywhere from $66,400 to $146,000, and it might just be hiding in plain sight. The 1997 U.S. Washington quarter dollar might look like any other ordinary coin resting in your pocket or sitting at the bottom of a drawer, but some of these coins hold a story and a value that most people would never imagine. Among the millions of quarters minted that year, a few rare ones escaped the U.S. Mint with unique and fascinating errors that transformed them from mere pocket change into treasures worth tens of thousands of dollars. Some of these special error quarters have sold for staggering amounts, ranging from $46,000 to as high as $118,000 in public auctions. Imagine that something you could easily overlook might be worth more than a brand new luxury car. The Washington Quarter Series has been a beloved part of American coinage since its debut in 1932, honoring the nation's first president. The 1997 issues, struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, feature the familiar portrait of George Washington on the obverse and the eagle design on the reverse. But it's the imperfections, not the perfection, that make some 1997 quarters so incredibly valuable. These are the coins that slipped through the cracks, those that tell a story of minting errors, machine mishaps, and a little twist of fate that turned an ordinary coin into a collectible gem point. One of the most famous and sought-after varieties of the 1997 Washington quarter is the double die obverse error. This happens when the coin die strikes the blank planchet twice, but slightly off position, creating a visible doubling on certain parts of the design. On these coins, you can clearly see a shadow-like duplication on the words Liberty and In God We Trust. In some cases, even the date 1997 shows a faint second impression. One such double die error, preserved in nearly uncirculated condition, fetched an astonishing $57,500 at a Heritage Auctions event. Another with more dramatic doubling on the motto and minimal circulation where was graded MS66 by PCGS and later sold $4.62,000. Then there's the off-center strike error, another collector favorite. This error occurs when the coin blank isn't properly aligned with the dies, causing part of the design to appear missing or shifted dramatically toward one side. The result is a coin that looks incomplete, with a portion of blank metal visible. These errors range from minor shifts of just a few percent to dramatic 50% off-center strikes that leave George Washington's face partially cut off. A remarkable 1997 D quarter with a 45% off-center strike, retaining full date visibility, brought in $70,800 in a great collections auction. Another slightly less extreme but equally eye-catching off-center quarter was sold by Stax Bowers $4.61,000. Equally fascinating are the coins struck on the wrong planchet. This happens when a blank metal disc intended for another denomination accidentally finds its way into the minting press for quarters. There have been confirmed cases of 1997 Washington quarters struck on planchets meant for nickels or dimes. Because of the smaller size and different metal composition, these coins stand out immediately once found. A 1997 P. Washington quarter mistakenly struck on a copper-nickel dime planchet, weighing just 2.3 grams, was authenticated and sold for $88,000. Another, struck on a nickel planchet and bearing a slightly duller tone with incomplete edges, reached an impressive $91,500 during a 2022 auction. Collectors also go wild over the missing clad layer error, where one of the coin's metallic layers doesn't adhere properly during production. This leaves one side of the quarter appearing copper-colored, as the inner core of the coin is exposed. These visually stunning errors are instantly recognizable and extremely desirable. A beautiful example of a 1997 quarter missing its outer layer on the obverse side, certified MS65 by NGC, sold for $52,000. Another, missing the reverse layer and displaying a two-toned look with a copper base and silver front, fetched $56 for 100. There's also the intriguing broad strike error, where the coin expands beyond its normal borders because it's struck outside the restraining collar. These quarters have smooth, stretched edges and a noticeably larger diameter than regular ones. A perfectly preserved 1997 quarter with a broad strike error graded MS67 drew in $48,200 at auction, while another with similar characteristics but slight toning sold for $50,000 even. And then there's the double denomination error, a type of mistake that truly captures collectors' imaginations. This rare phenomenon occurs when a coin that's already been struck with one denomination gets struck again with the dies of another denomination. Imagine holding a coin that shows traces of both a dime and a quarter, two designs fused into one by pure accident. A 1997 Washington quarter struck over a Roosevelt dime sold for a mind-blowing $118,000 in 2021, marking one of the highest prices ever achieved for an error coin of that year. It's a stunning example of how a one-in-a-million minting anomaly can transform a small piece of metal into a six-figure collectible. Some of these error quarters were discovered in the most unexpected ways. One collector in California found a striking 1997 P off-center quarter in a simple coin roll purchased from a local bank. Unaware of its true worth, he posted it online in a coin forum, where experts quickly confirmed its rarity. After grading, that same coin sold for $64,200 at Heritage Auctions. Another individual from Ohio discovered a quarter missing one clad layer while checking change at a gas station. That coin, which showed a unique copper sheen on the reverse, later fetched $53,000. The stories behind these discoveries remind us that valuable finds can appear in the most ordinary places. Whether tucked inside an old piggy bank, buried in a forgotten coin jar, or handed out in change from a vending machine, a rare 1997 quarter could be hiding in plain sight. These coins are living proof that luck, curiosity, and attention to detail can sometimes lead to unbelievable rewards. The minting process itself explains how these errors came to be. The U.S. Mint operates at extremely high speeds, producing hundreds of coins per minute. Even a minor misalignment, a small debris particle, or a malfunction in the die press can lead to an unexpected result. Normally, such errors are caught and destroyed during quality control. But on rare occasions, one or two pieces slip through undetected, ending up in circulation. And those few survivors, like the 1997 Washington quarter errors, become the holy grail for collectors. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections have reported increasing demand for these coins. While common examples of 1997 quarters might only fetch face value, the rare error specimens consistently achieve eye-popping figures. Between 2020 and 2024, multiple 1997 Washington quarter errors have been documented to sell for more than $60,000 each, depending on condition, type of error, and grading. The most exceptional examples with dramatic off-center strikes, missing clad layers, or double denominations can easily surpass the $100,000 mark, with the top-tier ones hitting $118,000 at their peak. Collectors who specialize in modern coin errors are particularly drawn to this year because it represents a transitional period before the introduction of the 50-state quarters program in 1999. That makes 1997 one of the last years of the classic Washington Eagle reverse design, giving these error coins an additional layer of historical appeal. Every coin tells a story, and in the case of the 1997 Washington quarter dollar, that story combines history, accident, and artistry. What was once a simple 25-cent piece has, in some cases, become an artifact of American minting history, valued by collectors across the country. So, the next time you're going through your change, take a moment to look closely at every quarter you find. Examine the date, inspect the lettering, and notice any odd coloration or off-center strikes. You might be holding a hidden treasure, one of those rare 1997 quarters worth anywhere from $46,000 to $118,000. It's proof that sometimes the smallest details can lead to the biggest discoveries, and that history and fortune can hide in the most ordinary of places, like the change in your hand.